I never got to this, but I want to get to it now. Shohei Ohtani met the media yesterday. First public statement since his interpreter was fired for, no other way to say this, embezzling $4.5 million from Ohtani to cover illegal gambling debts. Now, we don't know if he was betting straight up with a bookmaker or I'm not sure, like what we do on our phones now here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's legal in the state of California yet, so he'd have to be doing it in some other way, shape, or form.
Interesting.
Maybe doing it through a VPN on his phone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how it works. But anyway, so Ohtani's now former interpreter stole $4.5 million from Ohtani to cover those illegal bets. Now, before we play some sound from the press conference, and then something else that I found hysterical, it's worth noting that the first story that came out about this was that Ohtani, because he was really good friends with the former interpreter, that Ohtani himself paid the debt. Again, $4.5 million. The second story was, no, the interpreter stole $4.5 million out of Ohtani's bank account, and paid the gambling debts off himself. So this brings in a question. Everybody's got questions, and I will simply tell you my major question first is, how on earth does an interpreter, or let's take away his profession out of the equation, how does a friend have access to your bank account? How is that even possible?
And a lot. Yeah. Big question mark.
Okay. Here's Shohei Ohtani, who says he was not gambling.
So I never bet on baseball or any other sports, or never have asked somebody to do it on my behalf. And I have never went through a bookmaker to bet on sports. Up until a couple days ago, I didn't know that this was happening. Just to kind of just go over the result, in conclusion, Ippei has been stealing money from my account and has told lies.
All right. Now, how did he do this? How did he keep all of this from you?
So Ippei never revealed to me that there was this media inquiry, and to the representatives in my camp, Ippei told to the media and to my representatives that I, on behalf of a friend, paid off debt.
でその翌日にさらに尋問で一平さんは僕たちの代理人に対して借金は自分のもの
Upon further questioning, it was revealed that it was actually, in fact, Ippei who was in debt, and told my representatives that I was paying off those debts.
そしてこれらは全く全てが嘘だったっていう。
And all of this has been a complete lie.
All right, so I watched the press conference. I'm not going to lie. I thought Ohtani was convincing in his presentation of what they are presenting us as facts. I thought he was convincing. So since I don't know any of the parties and have no access to other information, he looked convincing to me. I'm not saying I believe it because, again, my first question, how does somebody who is not your, I don't know, brother, wife,
mom,
like
any of them,
how does somebody who is not your blood have access to your account? I mean, does he have your ATM card?
Yeah.
And he knows your PIN number?
The keys to your house?
I don't. Well, that would make sense, right? That would maybe drives your car. I don't know. So,
but then also the next question would be, how do you not notice that much money being gone.
Right. Maybe he's got so much money in his account. Because I saw that question asked. How do you not notice that there are, hundreds of thousands of dollars missing multiple times? I don't know if the withdrawal was one withdrawal of $4.5 million. I don't know how any of it works. I don't run in those circles. I do not have an account.
Well, and this is coming from me who noticed my cell phone bill went up $5, and I'm like, whoa, what are we doing, Verizon? So, from my perspective,
totally
I'm like,
understand it. Totally understand it. So, it's hard for me to square that somebody who is simply your friend has access to that. And I asked that. I didn't ask it. I just posted this on Twitter. I'm like, I can't get past that this guy had access to this money. So it's hard to not go, yeah, it looks like that maybe Ohtani is caught up in something. And before I continue with some thoughts on this, Pete Rose, of course.
Yep, there's Pete Rose.
Pete Rose has thoughts on this. There's an introduction made by somebody on Twitter, but they were with Pete Rose.
Hey guys, Matt Thrash here, enjoying some March Madness with my great friend Pete Rose. And we were talking about the current goings-on in baseball right now, and Pete wanted to mention something.
Well, back in the 70s and 80s, I wish I'd have had an interpreter. I'd be scot-free.
There you have it from the Hit King. Hey guys.
I'm sorry, that made me laugh.
Yeah.
It made me laugh out loud.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not going to lie, I did think the same thing.
I know. It's awful eerie.
And by the way, at some point this week, we'll talk to the author of a new book on Pete Rose. Major League Baseball starts Thursday.
Yeah, it does.
So at some point this week, we'll talk to Keith O'Brien, who wrote a book about Pete Rose, The Rise and Fall. It's called Charlie Hustle, The Rise and Fall of Pete Rose. And like, if you're Rose, you're probably looking at this going, well, he's gambling.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not suggesting that he is. I am simply suggesting that logically, to me, there's more in this story than, friend
right
embezzles $4.5 million from a wealthy ball player. Here's my next question. He's fired. He stole this money. Are we going to get charges?
Yeah.
Is
a lawsuit.
Like felony theft.
We've got to get someone from FSU to get with Ohtani because they like to be in court.
What is it? Right. Well, at some point I want to talk about that today too.
Right.
But how do we? That's not something we just let go.
No.
Did he steal $4.5 million? I don't care how many millions you have. If somebody takes $4.5 million from you,
right,
that's theft.
Yes.
And that needs to be prosecuted. Are we going to get there? My guess is we'll see. And if we don't ever get to a prosecution,
looks bad.
Especially since the former friend now has admitted to it.
Yeah.
We don't. There doesn't even have to be an investigation. He just says, "I did it."
Whoops.
Because he already has. And then we just go to prison, I guess. I don't know how it's going to work, but either way, if we don't ever get to that point, we're just letting that go. Okay. Again, doesn't mean that Ohtani is guilty of anything, but it's just like, this doesn't
look great.
Doesn't make sense. Let me just point something else out. And this could be motivating. Not for Ohtani, although it is also all motivating for Ohtani. Major League Baseball does not want anything like this to stain Shohei Ohtani. And here's why. He is, whether we like it or not, and I'm not saying that we should do anything other than love it, because he is an amazing player. he is right now the face of Major League Baseball.
Yep.
He is playing for a high-profile franchise. Granted, it's on the West Coast, so a lot of games are going to be too late for the East Coast to digest, but he's going to play a lot of games in the Eastern time zone, and 1,000 of them will be televised nationally. But he is the face of the game, and internationally, he is an ATM machine. The amount of money that he means to Major League Baseball overseas, I'm not saying is immeasurable because it's all measurable, but it is enormous. The last thing they want is to ultimately have to reach a decision that, wait a second, we have to suspend him? Again, I'm not suggesting that he gambled, but if he wagered on sports not named baseball, that's a year. Illegally, that's a year. If he wagered on baseball, that's all of the years.
Yeah.
There's no way baseball, you can look at it and say baseball's not incentivized to make this go away. I mean, Ohtani is, not only is he one of one, he's one of one in probably 100 years. He's that good as a pitcher, that good as a hitter. The incentive for Major League Baseball to make this story disappear, that's immeasurable.
It's huge.
The whole thing, man. There's too much at stake.
They'll find a way to make it disappear.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard to cover all your tracks if, in fact, there are tracks to be covered. And I'll just make this analogy. Back now 30 years ago, Major League Baseball was a little bit more than 30 years ago. Major League Baseball found themselves in a big steroid scandal.
Yeah, they did.
And they were cool with steroids. They were cool with allowing it, even though they knew it was a problem. And they sent out memos to teams, hey, this is illegal, blah, blah, blah. We know it's a problem. They were not prepared to do anything about it because they knew that, as the old phrase went in the commercials, chicks dig the long ball.
Yeah, yep. Brought
Right.
eyes to the TV.
Right? Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux walking in batting practice. Chicks dig the long ball. It's goofy commercial, but home runs helped sell the game.
That was the 90s.
They knew it.
Yeah.
They knew it. And all I could think of was, this could be Rob Manfred's moment, just like Bud Selig will never live that down. Even though I think Selig was an excellent commissioner, he will always be remembered for allowing steroids to permeate Major League Baseball, knowing what they knew. And this is going to be a difficult thing for Rob Manfred to square if, in fact, there was any gambling activity by Shohei Ohtani. So, again, not in any way suggesting it because I don't know. But, man, there are a lot of things about this case that make zero sense to me as has been presented, not only by Ohtani, but by the way we're covering this. Everybody's incentivized.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Everyone.
The media is incentivized by this, just like the media was incentivized by Maguire Sosa back 1998, which was maybe the best summer Major League Baseball has had in 100 years.
Yeah, well,
Maguire and Sosa and the home run chase.
Last year they were trying to ramp things up with the clocks, and that seemed to be working well for them, so they're wanting to keep it going with that momentum.
Game was getting more popular and more popular.
Yeah.
All right.